Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at tablemon. Hope you're liking the new thumbnails. I especially love this one with the Snorlax hugging really tightly onto Manaphy and Jirachi. And yeah, thanks so much if you clicked on this video because of it. We are going to be taking a look at the loved or hated Snorlax deck with the block ability not letting your opponent retreat. Pretty powerful strategy because not a lot of decks are made to withstand that. It is very important if you're playing this deck to know or have a very good idea of what your opponent's deck looks like, what they might be playing, their energy counts, their switching counts, all of that, so you can actually make the correct decisions and make sure you trap the right Pokemon, which sometimes can be a support Pokemon like Manaphy or Jirachi. Other times you can actually trap an attacker that is going to be difficult to power up or impossible to power up with the resources that your opponent has already expended. And now, Snorlax gains the brand new Eri supporter. This Eri supporter is so huge and so powerful. Now any items in your opponent's hand are no longer safe. Any items in your opponent's deck, because of Misfortune Sisters, are also not safe, but Eri is the new standout card that came out in Temporal Forces and brings this deck, in my opinion, to a whole new level. And that's why a lot of people are complaining about this deck overall and are just not having a good time playing against it. Misfortune Sisters already made the deck difficult to play against and difficult to really know what was going to happen, no matter how many switching outs you have. If your opponent hit some decent Misfortune Sisters and ran you out of resources before you were able to close out the game, it definitely became very difficult to win. And then the deck now incorporates two new tools: Mantine, with its attack that is essentially a replacement for Echoing Horn, allows you to choose one discard pile, either yours or your opponent's, and grab a Pokemon and put it onto their bench, which is very important. It's what Echoing Horn did. Your opponent will gain a turn the turn you do that, but sometimes if you bring back a Pokemon they discarded, that can be the game-winning play if it's a Pokemon that is not a threat to you whatsoever. And we also have Chi-Yu EX. Chi-Yu, once you have trapped something or once your opponent has run out of resources through Eri or Misfortune Sisters or however you manage it, then you can use Chi-Yu to accelerate your win condition. Or if they're being way too passive, you can punish that and then start discarding cards from their deck to force them to act and force them to use resources so that they actually run out. So it's a lose-lose for them, whether they run out of resources from using them themselves or you discard them through Chi-Yu. And same with the Eri plus Misfortune Sisters combo. It's a lose-lose. If they have the cards in their hand, that's bad. If they have the cards in their deck, that is also bad. So very powerful deck. And then on top of that, we have the Heroescape to help give Snorlax up to 250 HP without giving up an extra price card, which is very significant and very powerful, and obviously the ace pick of choice for this deck in particular. So let's jump in some games and see how we do. If you want to support the channel, you can use code tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 10% off on your aluminum accessories at TC Evolutions. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyper Beam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local C27 en el Centro Comercial Otay. Alright, so let's see what we can do here with this Snorlax deck, which, love it or hate it, it's something that exists and that you probably will have to deal with at some point. So the more you learn about it, the more you understand how it works and the weaknesses it has, then the more likely it is that you'll be able to beat it. So my opponent playing Iron Valiant, there's no more escape rope, right? So now there's a maximum of 8 switching cards plus a potential prime catcher that will allow them to switch around. Just something to keep in mind. This is a promo. Yeah, this is a promo. I hadn't seen that promo yet. Looks pretty cool. Based on the no actions, my opponent could have just rage quit immediately. Wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people do that. But no, actually we see a Moltres, so some sort of fire deck right here combined to threaten, I don't know, yeah, we'll see. I definitely don't feel threatened. I have my Arven, I have my Rotom. My Rotom doesn't do anything at all. So let's go ahead and set up. Your priority usually with this deck is to make sure that you can set up. And then after you are set up, you just try to disrupt your opponent. There is a Snorlax prize, so I'm actually gonna grab the Heavy Ball instead of the Force Seal Stone. So for example, one weakness that this deck currently has is that it cannot access the prizes anymore. There's no more Peonia, so any piece you prize, any key supporter you prize, that could be very problematic, such as this copy of Erika or this copy of Giacomo. If I was playing against Lugia, that could be problematic. Even a counter catcher, prizing 1 or even 2 counter catchers can be a very big deal. So just some food for thought. Here our plan is just going to be to continually bring up the Iron Valiants, which presumably our opponent can't attack with, and we should be in a perfectly fine spot. Alright, so not much else happening here from my opponent quite yet. And if they just don't do anything between Misfortune Sisters and Eri, we're just going to be attacking their hand, disrupting them. And then if they really don't do anything, or once they're out of resources to retreat, then we can just mill them with Chi-Yu. So there's no real threat of us losing this game. Yeah, what could happen is my opponent purposely tries to stall out the 25 minutes. That is something that could absolutely happen, but they purposely play a Switch card, which perhaps indicates that they don't know exactly what to do against this deck, or they don't have a real plan, which is fine, right? Perfectly fine. They just Switch card, plays a 20 and pass. Alright, so clearly they're doing a very passive situation, so I'm just gonna go ahead and Misfortune Sisters. I do hit... Wait, why can't I see? There we go. Magma Basin, Mela, and Fire Energy. So 2 Switch cards out of 4 gone, which is fantastic. There is also the possibility of Jet Energy for sure. Yeah, it's very likely that there will be 4 Jet Energy in my opponent's deck, as it helps them to switch around and sort of compensates for the fact that there's no more Escape Rope. However, we do have Temple of Sinnoh to potentially slow that down. We shall see. Yeah. So far, we know very little of our opponent's hand, but 2 out of 8 switching cards gone. That's pretty fantastic. Eri might be my supporter of choice next turn, just to take a look at what they have. Yeah, and it's all about using Eri, Misfortune, alternating that way, and then being aware. All right. Now that's an interesting decision. If they put useful items at the top, I could Misfortune Sisters. If they put no support, or like supporters or whatnot, then they would be sort of protecting. But if I Misfortune Sisters again, which this definitely encourages me to do so, not only will it disrupt their top deck, but also I could discard useful item cards, or I could simply take away the 2 cards that they were planning on getting in the next couple of turns. So pretty straightforward so far, definitely not posing any sort of challenge. And this is what Snorlax does have sometimes, just like some pretty straightforward auto wins. We do see another Switch card, so that's 3 Switch cards gone, 20 more damage. Not really worried whatsoever. I know my other Misfortune Sisters isn't priced, so my plan this turn is going to be to Force Seal Stone for it through Star Alchemy. I'm also going to play down the Artazon to encourage my opponent to like do more stuff, bench more Pokemon, play cards, shuffle their deck, whatever it is. And then here we go, Misfortune Sisters. So they might have put the Earthen Vessel at the top and a Magma Basin. I don't know if it's the 2 energies or the Earthen Vessel. I don't know what order they put them in, but that's fine. Now, Earthen Vessel, good resource to get rid of. We're gonna establish another Snorlax, and because my opponent isn't applying any sort of pressure, I can afford to do this. Usually I would try to have a more stable setup before I actually start attacking my opponent's deck, but honestly right now I am not worried at all. whatsoever. Like generally zero worries at all. I know I'm going to win this game very likely, and there's really nothing I should be worrying about at all, really. So all good. All good. Yeah, just a pass after the Artazon check. So I might want to consider going for or preparing to mill their deck with the Chi-Yu sometime soon. I am missing the energy, and sometimes I wish this deck played one energy surge as a way to be able to use the Chi-Yu more effectively. So I'm going to check their hand. Eri, going to get rid of the 2 Ultra Balls. They do have Boss, Sada, and Magma Basin. So they are absolutely in top deck mode, right? 100%. So I really don't see why I wouldn't just use Chi-Yu. I do need to find a fire in order to do so, which I currently don't have, but that's alright. That's alright. I thought it was important to take advantage of the searchable Misfortune Sisters at that point in time. So there's my Nest Ball for the potential Chi-Yu. I'll grab the Heroescape, sure. I'll grab a Pokégear, just try to find more disruption and try to find that Fire Energy as soon as possible, right? That's what I need. As soon as possible. I already played a supporter, and yeah, just try to instant charge. No fire yet. I really want that fire. It'll just speed everything up, which is very important. You know, I can mess with them in the meantime. His Misfortune Sisters. I can Pokégear to continually check their hand with Eri. I know right now there's a ton of supporters in there hitting a switch. Pretty fantastic. There are Jet Energies and there are Town Stores, so not super worried about the energy just yet. You know what? Honestly, I'm just gonna get the Chi-Yu down. I don't see why not. I can always just Penny whatever and open up room in case I need Pidgeot. I just really need that Fire Energy, which I'm just not getting quite yet. And even if I lose the Chi-Yu, it's not the end of the world. I just either I'm getting desperate in the sense that I just want to win. So I just want to keep attacking my opponent's hand and continue to apply as much pressure as possible. There isn't a single fire in the discard pile though. And they finally go for a research. There is now a fire in the discard pile, another Iron Valiant, a couple supporters. The boss in the discard pile is also pretty good. They will be able to Magma Basin, and they will finally be able to attack my Snorlax. And honestly, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, go ahead and KO my Snorlax. It's not a problem at all. I actually want that to happen. Alright. Boss and Sada back in the deck. Makes sense. Another switch utilized. That is perfectly fine. Into the Iron Valiant as well. So that's 5 switching cards. About to be 6. Alright, 2 of them left. So even better. Yeah, my opponent helping me out. My opponent actually helping me out overall. Alrighty. So no fire yet. So I'm not gonna go into the Chi-Yu quite yet. Oh well, there's a fire. Alright. Wait, how much damage did this? 90? Alright, so they got the perfect knockout, which is honestly perfectly fine. I can't attack their hand right now, but I can check what they have and then make my decision on what to do. So let's get rid of the Earthen Vessel. They have Mela and a bunch of fires. So I can mill 2 cards this turn, no problem. Which I honestly think I'm just gonna go ahead and do. 90 damage is also not that threatening. And with the Hero's Cape on the Chi-Yu, that actually gives me so many turns, right? To use Jealousy Singe. Sada and Nest Ball discarded. Oh, I should have used Countercatcher. Whoops. I forgot. I forgot to do the Countercatcher. That's fine. I could also do Boss instead. I'm always going to be behind, of course. Not a problem right there. Alright. We do see an Ultra Ball. So, gonna get the Entei. Might choose to attach to that. What did they discard? a fire, and the mellow. Right, so their hand right now is gouging, fire, and energy. So we see the Inferno Wings, that's perfectly fine. We are going to go ahead and counter catcher this friend. We are going to get rid of the stadium that I forgot last turn. And then I'm gonna put back the Misfortune and one Eri for now. Let's see if we can hit. All right, cool. I know my opponent's hand is a gouging fire. All right, we hit another switch, fantastic. That is the 7th switch card, I believe, right? 3 and 4, yep. And then let's just keep digging. Yeah, they have no energy in hand, can't SATA to the active, so it's just a matter of time, really. Next step could be penny up the Rotom. I think that seems reasonable. That way they have no boss out, but actually, it's probably unnecessary at this point. I mean, it would help in the sense that it reduces the damage that Entei does, so sure. And then we go Jealousy, Cinch, all good. Future Capsule and a Stadium, pretty good. Future Capsule, wow, both of those cards were actually pretty huge. Either of those would have allowed Iron Valiant to retreat. And then Entei would have dealt... Alright, I don't know what their other card is, but I know it's not an energy. So what I can now do is just boss this friend. And now that one requires 2 attachments. So all good. And then just keep using Jealousy, Cinch, Research, and Magma Basin. 2 very good discards as well. Alright. I think I have this game in the bag. Just a pass. So my opponent just not happy at all with what they're seeing. Let's try and get back the Pal Pads, because why not? Alright, double tails, that's alrighty. Let me just double check. I have 1 Misfortune, 1 Eri, 1 Cyllene, so I can just Team Yell's Cheer each of those next turn and be fine. Boss and Fire, good discards. Still 1 switch left. Still a few Jet Energy left as well. Entei right now is doing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18. So 18 plus 90, 270. They don't have a KO on my Chiyu yet with Entei, which is potentially good news. Now there is that Gouging Fire, which can apply pressure with Heat Blast. We'll see. Okay, encounter a Stadium. Are we gonna see a Jet Energy KO maybe? There is that possibility. Now that they bench that Greninja, Entei does do just enough damage, I believe. Oh, okay, they have their Prime Catcher. That's completely fine. Actually, no, Entei doesn't do. No, it 200. No, it didn't do. Even with the max bench, that would have been 180, right? Because it's 120, 140, 160, 180. Yeah. No, we are pretty safe. Alright, so they were debating who. Entei, they were probably doing the same maths I was doing. So Entei does get the knockout here. And, I mean, what I'm going to do is going to go counter catcher once again, play the Temple of Sinnoh. There's a lot of stadiums gone for my opponent at this point in time. That'll be the 4th stadium. So he did have the Prime Catcher. Oh, wait, what? What? Oh, yeah, 180. They don't get the KO. And there we go. So pretty straightforward. Trap your opponent, make educated guesses on what they're trying to do and what their list looks like, and then you're good to go. On to the next one. All right, so on to the next game. Charizard Sleeves, Arceus start. Arceus decks are usually quite weak to Mimikyu. However, my start leaves a lot to be desired, and the Fire Energy could indicate Armarouge, and Armarouge definitely helps the deck bypass Mimikyu. So in a little bit of trouble. Let's see the Eri. Discarding the two Ultra Balls does not help me at all because they have the Arceus V-Star. I might just end up losing this game quite quickly because my start is very underwhelming. And this is one of the weaknesses of this deck. This can certainly happen. So, all right. do see the Arceus V-Star hit play. There's the Arceus. And what else? What else will happen here? Magma Basin. I mean, they have their V-Star, right? And they know how weak my start was. If there's Armorish, which usually Fire Energy Magma Basin does tend to indicate, then that will be a little problematic. We do the Starbirth. Best case scenario, they go for like double turbo plus Judge. That would be pretty sweet. Even Iono would be even better. Definitely the double turbo, that was to be expected, and they very smartly go for a Professor's Research. So not much we can do about that, but all good. And this is one of the weaknesses of Snorlax. You need to find your Arvens, your Nest Balls. You need to establish Rotom to be able to draw cards. If you don't, you can very easily be knocked out of the game ASAP, right? So, all right, that Radiant Charizard could be problematic for my opponent, right? We haven't seen Armorish yet, so that could be the Pokemon that I try to trap, combining Giacomo with Counter Catcher, and we'll have to see. Burn and Confused, okay. All right, so we'll see how many turns this can potentially buy us. I'm just gonna Giacomo away the energy and then Counter Catcher the Red Zard, and we'll pass the turn. Worst case scenario is seeing a Charcadet come down, right? That would be annoying. Otherwise, this could maybe buy me a few turns to eventually stabilize and try to lock down my opponent. They did go, like they purposely searched, I believe, for the Delphox. Yeah, they Nest Balls for the Delphox instead of any Charcadet or Armor, so that could be an indication that there is none. And there was definitely no reason to play down the Radiant Charizard, and they're actually powering it up, so perfect. Perfect by me. It's gonna take them 5 turns to power up the Charizard. They obviously can't retreat it. Now I have another Snorlax, which is fantastic. Again, Eri again. But I think I'm gonna wait for now. They clearly don't seem to have anything too useful or too relevant they would want to play right now. So yeah, that benching of the Radiant Charizard might be my opponent's demise. That's the second double turbo, I believe. All right, get me an Arven. Yes, let's go. All right. We are in business. We are absolutely in business. We are going to find our Rotom with our Nest Ball. We're also going to Forest Seal Stone, get rid of that Stadium, which is the first one that they played. Not sure how many they will actually play. Now Boss's Orders can allow them to retreat, but that's not relevant this turn. I'm just gonna go ahead and search for the Stadium, because if they have another double turbo, that would be very problematic for my Snorlax at this point in time. So we're gonna go ahead and establish the Temple of Sinnoh. I haven't really taken the time to figure out my prize cards just yet, but so far so good. Now we have the follow-up Arven, another Counter Catcher. We can establish a third Snorlax. We have the backup Temple of Sinnoh. So all of a sudden, we are back in this now. Lost Vacuum does remove the Temple of Sinnoh, and we could see, yep, there is another double turbo. So do they have a boss? No, they don't have a boss to knock out the Rotom. Pretty scary stuff, but that's a lot of energies dedicated to the Charizard, which could prompt a difficult time for the other Pokemon to attack as well, right? And the Charizard right now cannot attack. So finding Giacomo will also be pretty important. We're gonna go ahead and Arven for did I prize the Snorlax? I did not. So we're gonna Arven for either of these. Sure. Either of these will help save the Snorlax from being taken down by an Arceus. Let's establish the other Snorlax, and let's go ahead and Bravery Charm the active and play another Temple of Sinnoh for sure. And now, I mean, they're applying pressure, yes. That Radiant Charizard is threatening, but I didn't need to commit to anything really, and they should have only one double turbo left. I'm not sure how many stadiums they play, probably more than one. Magma Basin is surely to be a part of the deck. Giacomo would actually be pretty powerful. Now they can attack again if they have a stadium counter, so I can actually check their hand. Do you have a stadium counter? You do not. You only have energies in your hand, which is fine, right? Perfectly fine. Once they commit that energy, I have a little bit more maneuverability. There is also another Gouging Fire. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fires so far, along with 3 double turbo. You would expect 10-4 probably, maybe 9-3, but probably safer to assume 10-4. So for now, that's exactly what I will be assuming. And yeah, just instant charge. Not much else to be done here. Really looking for those Giacomos to get rid of that double turbo, potentially get rid of a future double turbo. Delphox also could be annoying. Right, they power the Charizard and they top deck the research. Alright, so scary stuff. Could lead to a counter stadium, which leads to a KO, and that's exactly what happens. That's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Yep, another knockout. Ooh, I would have survived with Hero's Cape, actually, so that was an oversight on my part. I should have attached the Hero's Cape. The Defiance Vest does not allow me to survive, but the Hero's Cape does. Alright, so I know the Charizard can't attack this turn. Kind of want to put a Temple of Sinnoh back at the top for next turn. Alright, 1 heads, that's perfectly fine. There is probably a third Magma Basin for my opponent, but that's alright. That is generally alright. And now we're gonna go instant charge for now. So Temple of Sinnoh, surprise, surprise, right? No Giacomo, but we're getting closer, right? Unless both are priced. One might be priced, I don't know. Definitely wouldn't mind an Arven. I also wouldn't mind that. And then I know I survive an attack from Snorlax, so I'm feeling pretty safe here. Probably Arven into another Snorlax is a safer bet at this point in time. Boss KO could be problematic as well. Boss Retreat KO on the Rotom would actually be not ideal, but definitely a welcome choice, because then I could probably indefinitely trap this Radiant Charizard no matter what. We'll see. We shall see. We're definitely against the ropes though. Absolutely against the ropes, but thankfully no Charcadet into Armorish. With Armorish, you just transfer the energy to whatever's active, and then you can KO that way and apply pressure, so thankful that there's any sort of threat. Alright, there's a boss. So my opponent can retreat, and it seems like they are. Yep, they do choose to retreat and knock out. So now it's single Pokemon Snorlax trying to not get KO'd by that Radiant Charizard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fires attached now. 1 double turbo left. Not sure how many stadiums will be left, but yeah, definitely problematic, right? The Hero's Cape really needs to put in work here. But now I'm at the mercy of just drawing the cards I need, which is fine. Yeah, it's honestly fine. So we're gonna counter this. We're gonna bring back the Radiant Charizard once again. We are going to... I don't have a Penny either. But in order for Penny to be useful, I need Arven into Snorlax. Right. So first let's check. Okay, I'm gonna grab... Oh, I can't actually grab another Snorlax. Alright. 1 Giacomo is indeed priced. So I'm gonna give myself the best possible chance at hitting one with that Pokégear next turn. And we're just gonna pass here. Only 2 energies right now on the Radiant Charizard. Even if they are able to So here's what I'm thinking, right? If the assumption of 10-4 is correct, yeah, that's the 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my god, they have a switch. All right, well, that's a problem. Oh, that's really bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 energies. They do have their switch in their hand. Okay. I could possibly check their hand. Giacomo plus Countercatcher feels like the best though to me. I mean, I do find Penny, but I don't have another Snorlax to Penny into. And the Mantine doesn't survive the hit. So I could check their hand with Eri, which is a little bit better than the Erika, I guess. But I feel like Giacomo Countercatcher is still what I want to do here. All right, I can't. So I'm just going to keep the Penny for whenever I find the other Snorlax. And, all right, well, it's Eri to check. They have Boss, Iono, the Capsule. Oh, they have another energy. They have another energy in hand. All right, which could be their last. It generally could be their last. They can't attack right now. That would be 4 energies. Gosh, I can't believe I prized 2 Nest Balls. That's very unfortunate. If I had Nest Ball, I could just I could have pennied and I'd still be safe, right? I'd still have one return. So I'm pretty sure that Nest Ball is to check if they have a stadium available. They do choose to attach, and this is the importance of the Giacomo. So I might just lose here if they just find their last stadium. Do they find it? Doesn't seem... Oh, wow, they have energy switch. Alrighty, so props to my opponent. I mean, it was a rough matchup, and it was 100% due to my start and that other Nest Ball being prized. If that other Nest Ball was not prized, or if I had hit Giacomo to remove that double turbo, I'm pretty sure I would have had a chance to win that one, but it is what it is. Yeah, this deck can be frail like that. My opponent knew what to do. I wasn't able to like really attack their hand or their deck very effectively either. I discarded 2 Ultra Balls, was never able to Misfortune Sisters really. I never hit Switch or Energy Switch, which were obviously vital cards, so that's what you need to do. But first you need to stabilize, and I was never really able to stabilize, never got a third Snorlax. If I had access to a Nest Ball and I had been able to just for one turn Nest Ball and then Penny the Snorlax, I would have survived any hit thanks to the Hero Escape. I might have had another opportunity to disrupt them, maybe heal, find the Giacomo. So lots of things can happen with the deck. A lot of things can go right, a lot of things can go wrong, and not having access to prize cards is a problem. And sometimes you just don't start with access to Rotom, and that's another big problem as well. But that's going to be it for Snorlax. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you like the thumbnail. I really love the thumbnail of this one, even though we were not able to trap a Jirachi or Manaphy this game or these games. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.